Welcome to Kastoshi, and today we are speaking to Karnika of Key Difference Media. So welcome, Karnika.
Hey, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Okay, so could you just give us the very quick 2-minute pitch to someone who knows nothing about crypto or marketing about what your company does?
Okay, sure. So I entered the space in 2013, 9 years ago in the early days, and Key Difference Media has been one of the largest and oldest blockchain marketing agency and an incubator. So our idea is to take a company from Web2 space who's coming to Web3, or an entity that is trying to establish themselves in Web3, give them all the resources, network connections in the blockchain space, the intel about what's actually happening and what they should be doing, helping them with all the connections and deploying them in the space in the right way to kickstart their journey, to helping them reach their primary destination and their goals. So it's a full-on service provided incubator, and we have extended arms like Forward Protocol, which is a drag and drop no-code solution that helps people who don't understand crypto to come into the blockchain space, deploy blockchain applications called dApps and blockchains themselves without having to learn to code, without having to understand how it works, but just purely intuitively to see what is there, to customize and deploy. And that's what we do.
Tell us a little bit, how did you get to this place? Because I've noticed there's a lot of people in crypto who say they're crypto experts, but they've only come in the last 2 years and they're just in it for the money. So why do you care about this space, and what got you here?
Okay, so I was in the world of marketing in since 2007. That's 16 years back. And at that time, we had a lot of interesting clients and businesses, and they were moving to blockchain in 2013. So that transition required me to understand what Bitcoin was and what blockchain is, to be able to get that message out to larger audience, their clients, and where they needed to be seen. And the moment I understood what it is, I was like, this is perfect. This is exactly how my philosophy fits. This is how I see the world, and blockchain is so native to me. It's perfect. And this is what I want to do, and this is where I want to be in. And from that point, I moved my businesses, everything in my life, to the world of blockchain. And being there in the industry from those early days, you see the interest in the space. 2013 to 2017, they were not really raising money and doing anything. That all of that started in 2017. In those early days, it was truly builders and people trying things, people innovating. The amount of innovation is not as much as what it is right now, but then they were purely innovating for the joy of creating and for the philosophy of what blockchain is. The philosophy came first, the technology came second. And that is something that people don't see right now. These days, money comes first, speculation and money, then comes entertainment, and then comes the technology, and philosophy is kind of lost. So coming from that time and space, it is something that is very important to me. And that is what I talk to businesses and enterprises when they're trying to move to Web3. Technology is all great, but first, is your business ready for the philosophy of decentralization? If it is not ready, then probably you're in the wrong place or in the wrong time.
So could you maybe give us an example of someone who you didn't take on as a client and someone you did take on as a client?
Okay, so I'll go with the first example of someone we did take on. They are called Water 150. They are tokenizing water, and they have water well licenses in different parts of the world. And they have been audited by entities like Deloitte, and they have actual flowing water supply. And they are bringing the idea that we created for them was to tokenize water. For a token holder, they have 1 liter of access to water every year for rest of their life. So if someone has a water, this token, they'll be able to access drinking water all their life. And this is great. And it's a real utility. It's a real need. And it is valuable, and it's not available as a commodity elsewhere. It's not trading in other exchanges. This is quite interesting. And it has the cost, the impact side, at the same time, the ethos of making an asset available to everyone. And this has the philosophy of blockchain. It uses the technology appropriately, and this is a good fit. And the bad fit is when companies come and say, okay, we want to be on the blockchain. What do you want to do? They want to put up an NFT. What does an NFT do? It does nothing. It's just that it's branded with their name. That's bullshit to me. If real world companies, traditional companies who have been living there for decades, many decades, they have the quality, they have the values, they have a product that people are buying. But when they enter the blockchain space, why would they put up a product which has no value to it? I don't like to touch companies who are trying to play with the trend. I like to be those who are either creating a trend or contributing something of value. And there are some companies, even older entities, I cannot name this one, but they're trying to come up with an appointment setting system for the banks with the power of blockchain. Because one of the problems that the banks face is that people who are coming in, they don't necessarily attend the meeting after they set the appointment. They want to create a reward system. People putting in some small stake to book a meeting, and then if they attend, they get the money back, plus the reward of other people who didn't end up attending. It doesn't use all the benefits of blockchain. It's not like, if you want to, it's like saying that if you want to have peace of mind, you have to go to a hill and leave all your life and everything, all your possessions, and meditate there. You don't have to. You can meditate for 15 minutes a day in the morning. You can find things that are beautiful, that are useful, and adopt parts of those, and you don't have to adopt the whole thing. So we just look at companies who bring that practicality and make sense with blockchain.
So I'm guessing you do marketing and you build the systems, as the products for these companies who want to do something in this space. Is that correct?
It's much more than that. When any of the companies are coming up, they come and say, okay, this is who we are. How do we do something in the blockchain space? We need to think about their business, think about the problems in the blockchain, ideate a solution, ideate a blockchain product for them. And we need to make sure that it is in interest for them, because otherwise we are not the ones running the business, it's them. They should be interested in what we are proposing, right? And it has to make business sense for their existing models, their investors, their board. If everything is good, then we take it forward from there, help them designing that model, deploying that model, that is helping them get that to life. When I mean getting them to life, referring them to the right legal people who can bring it. We don't do the legal thing, we refer it. The technical aspects, sometimes we refer, sometimes some of the things we help them internally. We get those parts, get their white paper, their tech, and all of that, train them on the blockchain, because it is their business. We are only helping them, and they need to know what it is. So we help them understand and train them on it. We take it to the market by getting interest in the market, marketing it. And as people come, we improvise their traditional product to the crypto product fit, because the feedback comes and there's a need of improvisation. Trying to make blockchain work in an existing business and trying to smoothen out everything.
Sure.
And it
Okay.
requires a whole blockchain expertise, not just pushing something on the marketing out.
Okay, I get
And
it, yeah.
finally, actually marketing it, taking them to the market, helping them with the funding, and they go live on exchanges, the challenges and problems that comes with the community, managing all of that for them and with them.
Okay. And so do you take tokens in the projects that you incubate as well, or is it
That's
just?
we primarily do that. Tokens is how we are incentivized in the process, and that's like our equity in the opportunity. And yes, we do that, and we do it with the same level of lock and vesting as the founders. So we believe we as an organization are a co-founder, and we want to be in it as long as they are in it, and we want to do it in the longer term. So we don't do this with businesses. We don't even take on, if we see them with a less than 5-year horizon. If they are not an existing business in at least more than a decade, and they're not looking to be in the space for more than 5 years, it doesn't make sense to do it with them.
Where does this forward protocol? I haven't seen the product yet, but so what is this? What is the reasoning behind this? Why did you create it?
Okay, so it was 2018, and we saw this whole 2017 ICO rise and fall. We raised money for a lot of companies, and they unfortunately did not end up doing much after that. They were unable to bring their product to life, unable to bring user adoption. Some of the companies did good and persisted, and they're alive even right now, but most did not. We also, and when we look at all of that, the biggest challenge that emerged is that they're unable to take their product, make it simple to the traditional market, because the industry of blockchain is very small. The a market who understands MetaMask is very tiny, and it could be big right now, but it's still tiny to the global size. And back in 2018, after the 17 crash, it was super small. It was like very, very tiny. And you're not able to create products for this space. have to bring in the rest of the audience. And how do we make that transition smoother for everyone, for all businesses of all kinds? And that is the start of Forward. We were trying to bridge that blockchain adoption gap. And we wanted to have a solution where anybody, just like WordPress, our biggest example we always refer to is WordPress. People are spending $5,000-$10,000 for websites back in those days. And then came CMS, like Joomla, Drupal, and finally came something simple like WordPress. And then every entrepreneur, he has an idea. He doesn't just go write a business plan. He goes, puts up a WordPress website, drags and drops, puts the idea and sees it in real life like a web page. And then he gets a sense of it, he shares for feedback. And then they try to build a business based on that. That WordPress enabled people to test their ideas or at least visualize it in a better way. And we wanted Forward to be that. We wanted people to come to the space. If they want to deploy a dApp, look at all the templates, hundreds and hundreds of templates, choose it, customize it on a pure form, and then put it live on any blockchain. We already are working with 400 plus blockchains. Put it live on any blockchain of any language.
Can I ask you, okay, so is that EVM compatible only blockchains, or does that include things like Solana?
We task multiple compilers. Right now, the EVM chains are live, and the compilers for Solana, the Rust compilers, JS compilers, and Python Viber compilers, which works with Algorand kind of entities, all of those are getting live probably in the next 45 days. Few other compilers will be live. So we are not integrating chain by chain. The moment Rust compiler is live, it will work with everyone, like Solana, everyone else as well.
Okay, and so is it the same business model as WordPress as well then, you're saying?
So the business model is an open-ended model because the developer chooses it. The developer says, I want to charge no fee, I want to charge a monthly fee, or I want to charge a one-time deployment fee. So the developer chooses, we take a commission out of developers' revenue. And we also take a protocol fee, which is similar to the chain transaction fee. From every transaction, chain takes a fee. We as a protocol, we take a similar minor fee as well.
Okay, so the code is all open source, I guess.
That is up to the developer again. The developer can make it open source or closed source. We don't involve there.
Okay, but your code is open source, I mean.
We are a factory. So our job is to take what they provide and help them deploy. That's it. So we need not be, our source is pretty much a deployment platform. It's an application. So there's nothing open or closed about it. It is purely taking something from the developer and deploying. And our contracts are open source that we create, that we put out ourselves as a developer. And our fee model, fee contracts, those parts are completely open, yes.
Okay. So Forward Protocol is really a set of smart contracts. Is that what you're saying?
It is much more than that, because the deployment platform is not a set of contracts, but then all the contracts that the developers are adding are, for example, they are a set of contracts, but then it's not just contracts, it comes with a front end. Because if it's only deploying contract, it's challenging for a user again. So someone wants it with a front end builder. So we have a drag and drop builder. You can drag videos, create a page, create a web page, connect it with the contracts and put it live. So it is both the front end, the administrative backend, and the smart contracts, all the three things bundled. So you can literally deploy anything in that model. You can deploy a whole blockchain, a Cosmos SDK. You can deploy an Avalanche subnet through it. You can deploy validators of other chains through it. And anything for that matter can be deployed through this platform.
Okay, so I'm starting to understand it. So when people use your service, you basically give them these different components, so they don't have to start from scratch. Yeah, because I've spoken to several companies in the space who they have a lot of these infrastructure components, but I'm trying to understand if what you're doing, what is so different is that the whole thing is open source. Like, is the front end builder, is that open source as well?
The front end builder is, it's just a builder. So whatever they create is open source for them, what they create out of it, but the builder is just our internal component. So they can use it. Yeah, they can use it. It's off-chain, because the front-end builder is not part of on-chain. It's not blockchain, because these parts that they create using the front-end builder, the other parts, they go to Amazon or Google Cloud or IPFS. They can just deploy it anywhere through our platform.
But I think that's something, by the way, you should look at, because when we say something is open source, because I'm a big open source guy. So when we say open source, we expect there to be a GitHub page, and because the way that WordPress works is that the whole thing is open source, you know, including the drag and drop builder and everything, and then people pay for services. So either a company chooses to host WordPress, or they provide consulting services on top of it. Just something to look out
That makes
for.
sense.
Yeah. Um, okay. So where are you based, by the way?
I'm in Dubai.
Ah, okay, nice. Yeah. So Dubai is like the center of the. How do you feel about the different? Because I'm based in Gibraltar. So how do you feel about the different countries and the blockchain space? Because I've been hearing recently that well, I'm in a place which is good for crypto, but Singapore, um, El Salvador, Dubai, and there's a few places like. Are you from Dubai, or did you move there?
I moved here a year before, and it's I think a little more than a year right now.
Okay, and what was the reason you came? Was it because of crypto only?
I guess it's just the community. There's more things going on here, and it's and also it's a lifestyle. I just like being here. I want to explore, and next year I'm trying to go to some other region as well. So I'm just more of an explorer in life, and I want to experience things. And
Mm.
this is a beautiful community and place where we can interact. And now I do know most people here, and it's been a beautiful journey. And now I could be in a new community next year.
Oh, that's nice to hear. I think my experience with crypto before I came to Gibraltar, I honestly felt like I was trying to work with my hands tied behind my back, because everyone was so negative on it. All they looked at was prices. If you tried to talk about anything technical, people didn't want to know. So I think that coming to a place which is friendly to crypto really accelerated my learning. And as you said, it's good to have a good community around you.
No,
And
that's very true. And when you see more ideas spark, and when you see people working, building towards it, it's definitely very good. And when governments are supporting and governments aid in the process, it's even more beautiful.
mm, I'd like to also talk to you a bit about where you see the future of crypto, because a lot of people are saying crypto is dead, and of course you don't believe that, and I don't believe that. Um, what do you see as the next thing that people are going to really set up and take notice, and so that the general public will actually understand what crypto is, and finally they won't say, "Oh, look at the prices." What do you think is the thing that will actually make them realize?
I can see the two major trends that's happening right now, and these trends are based on companies, enterprises, governments that you're speaking with, and what's going on around it. One is asset tokenization, real world assets moving to blockchain. It is very simple, it's very straightforward. There's no speculation there because it is a real asset, verified, audited by major entities, companies, which is a centralized point of failure for now, but it is verified by people that the traditional audience trust. And it is on blockchain right now, and its price is directly correlated to the price of the underlying asset. And this is purely not, it's speculative, but it's not speculative within the crypto sphere. It's speculative to the real assets and the traditional markets. And this will make it accessible to millions of people who do not have the ability to buy into an asset right now. So there are challenges. A good portion of the world cannot lay their hands on a lot of commodities and so on. And this will be a great opportunity. And second is business processes. Like the appointment setting one for the banks that I mentioned, to many more business processes going to move to blockchain, and people will end up using blockchain powered business processes. And that will show them that things in blockchain can work without the cryptocurrency in it, or without the price element of it, or the price action.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, I know the first case about digital assets, or what people are calling today NFTs. About business processes, that's quite interesting, because I know there's things like IBM Hyperledger, and there's also something called Concordium, and these are kind of private blockchains. And I've heard a lot of people in the space say this is just the same as having a private database hosted by a third party. What's your opinion of these like private blockchains, which need a lot of enterprise credentials to access it? I mean, are they just are they reinventing a shared database, or are they useful, in your opinion?
Blockchain is a database. That's the starting fact that we need to look at. It is helping us store data, and there is nothing wrong if someone is running one node and putting their data there. Maybe they're looking for transparency. Maybe they're not looking at decentralization. Like I said, with the whole blockchain benefits, they might be looking at one specific benefit that matters to them. And there's nothing wrong with that. And private blockchains will exist because a lot of companies, a lot of objectives might just be solved that way. You don't need to put everything public for the whole world to see when it doesn't relate to anyone outside. Just like we have private chats for private audiences, does it mean that they're doing something wrong? It's just that they're just private. They're dealing something among themselves.
I think what you said about transparency in an enterprise setting without the decentralization, that's such a good comment, because a lot of comments I've heard against private blockchains are, but it's not decentralized. But yeah, transparency is important. Companies already have like a hardware keys and that. But even in those companies, I actually spend longer logging in because the systems are never integrated. And I think I'm just afraid of seeing the same thing happen with crypto, because one thing in the traditional world is you've got all of these standards for logging in different security systems, but the thing is there's no single standard. For me, what would be an ideal situation was if there was like, just say it was MetaMask, enterprise MetaMask, and it became the standard in all companies.
I'll just jump in here right away.
Yeah.
We don't have one currency. We don't have one meter of measurement. We have no one language. We don't have one standard in anything in the world. We have never, in all this thousands of years, never agreed for anything, even the simplest thing. So this technology, it's freaking hard, freaking complex, and I'm sure we're not going to get there anytime soon.
Okay,
I'm not even going to get into that.
Oh, so you use crypto to pay your salaries. So I'm a big fan of someone called Balaji in the Network State, and he talks about how with crypto you can have real-time accounting. And so is this something which you're doing in your company, or you're planning to do?
Yeah, in our organization, 99% everyone gets paid in crypto directly. So it all happens instantaneously for us. And it's easier. I mean, we don't even have to do much effort after that. And we are not waiting for some statement or any of that. You know, here's a link. This is where it happens. So it's over there.
Most banks don't even allow you to deposit crypto. So, for example, if you have to deal with someone who's got a fiat account, are there any problems if you send from a normal bank in Dubai to, for example, to an exchange or via USDC or something?
So banks here don't like it, but until it's regulated. So there are regulated exchanges with licenses. So if it comes from those exchanges, they don't have a problem. They just, end of the day, it's a matter of licensing. If it's coming from verified ones, no issues. If it's going to other places, then they have a trouble with that.
Oh, okay. That's still better than the UK. So it sounds quite advanced. Where else do you see the industry is going to be like in a few years' time? Like where do you hope it's going, and what's going to be the state of the world with crypto? Do you think it's going to do you think that governments are going to basically lose power? Is fiat going to collapse? What's your thesis on all of this?
I think fiat is going to stay here for much longer than what we like. I cannot comment if it is US dollars or other fiat, but the global fiat will stay for more than a decade or more. Even a decade is a short time for something like that to be eradicated. It's so deep rooted, because if fiat were to disappear today, we would be in a bigger trouble. Because all the financial instruments, everything that the world works with, the stocks, the bonds, everything going off in one day, crypto is not in the position to handle it. You can tokenize, you can run it. It's going to be a chaos, and we're going to pull our own hairs if we have any, and we're going to kill ourselves. So it's going to take some time. And the fiat, the CBDCs will come, which is going to bring more awareness to the crypto world. People will start seeing the parallel between them. Then I see the world moving to crypto in a modular fashion. So one module at a time. which is exactly what we are working on forward as well, to create hundreds of modules that someone can come, applications with a front end and back end, so they can use it. Think about how we moved from traditional offline world to the Web 2 world directly. We moved on CRMs online. We moved on accounting online. We moved on our incentive programs online, reward points online. We moved on our own personal note keeping online with a note app. We moved our phones online, the calls and video conferences. It went step by step, modular. Now there will be blockchain products created for each of those modules, either by a Web 2 company moving to Web 3 or a new Web 3 company. And people will start using that. The more they use it, then the unification requirement comes between them. That's when the login, like you're asking me, one sign-on, like Google login, Facebook login came into place. Now you'll have a MetaMask login, or all of that already exists. Now they will start getting integrated. What will happen here is that the speed at which this grows is not going to be same as the Web 2. The traditional to Web 2 took longer because people had to get used to a whole new world of things. But moving from Web 2 to Web 3 is not that big of a jump. We all assume it's a big jump, but thinking about an offline paper world to computers and mobile devices, from that to Web 3 is not a big jump. On one side, the technology is making it, we are trying to make it easier. On the other side, people are moving towards it. So it is going to be much shorter than we realize. So it's like, how much you can accomplish in one day. We always think that it can be a lot, but we end up doing little. But in a year, we think it is a little, but we end up doing a lot. And that's what's happening here. In 3 years, what we could do is so much, but what we could do in 3 months is so little in the space. And that's the fact. Because I want to see a world a few years from now where I don't want to go and say I have $10 million of net worth of American promise of the American president. I want to say I have 10 kgs of gold, 200 kgs of silver, 10 gallons of water, 5 acres of forest land, and big 5 ton of timber. That is my assets. That is what I own. That is true, because we all made a mistake. And I believe crypto is fixing that mistake. The mistake is not made by the monkey pictures. The mistake was made 70 or 80 years before, when the US government moved away from the gold standard. And we are trying to bring that asset standard back with the power of blockchain and the transparency. Yes, there are bottlenecks, the custodian bottlenecks and all of that, and there are solutions, and we can discuss about that in some other day. But I believe we are going back to that point where a trustless, a place without promises, with true assets, true transparency in blockchain. And that is a gift for the entire world. It's a gift for every human who cannot access these instruments right now. It is a fight against inequality. It is a fight against centralized powers, because the centralized powers will exist. I'm a person who is not saying centralization goes to hell and decentralization is the world. I believe centralization will exist, decentralization will be there. It is people's choice. We are empowering choice to the hands of the user. A user says, I like the way it's centralized. It makes my life easy. I'm going to stick to it. So be it. We are only enabling choices. And that's a world I see, a world of choices for people, those who like freedom, those who like ease of comfort. And I hope both that doesn't have to be two choices. The freedom and ease of doing something is in one place. But if they like centralized entities, they will use it. There's nothing wrong with it. They are not the sinners here. It is just different solutions for different people.
Oh, wow. With that, okay, I love that. I love that. That's a very good vision, and I see something similar. So thank you. So we'll close off soon, but could you just tell us, for the audio listeners, could you spell out where people can find you on the internet?
Sure. You can reach me on Twitter, Karnika Yashwant. You can probably drop the links in the after the footnotes. You can find me on my Instagram, on Telegram is again a great place to connect personally if you want to. My LinkedIn has all my information. The links will be available, but keydifferencemedia.com is our incubator, and forward protocol.io is our infrastructure solution. And you can always Google me up, and there's way more information about me online than what you would need.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for your time today. And you got such great insights that I hope to have you back someday as well.
Sure thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.